Bear with me. I think it's working, but I'm not sure yet. Yeah. All right, cool. Stand by.
Get ready, so get set, so hang on, so buckle up, so sit tight, so strap yourself in, so brace yourself, so keep your eyes open, so fasten your seatbelt, so stick around, so hang on, so get ready. You just have to be ready. Brace yourself. What you're about to see will open your eyes. The surprises never stop, so you better hang on. So get ready, so fasten your seatbelt, so hold on tight, so hang on, so get ready to get ready, and get ready to get real.
All right. I don't know what's happening. Folks, we are live, I believe. We have a tremendous show tonight. And the only way I know that is because it says it right here. The show's going to be tremendous. On the program tonight, we're going to be talking about DEFCON. We're going to be talking about this tremendous arc that's been going on. We're going to play a game. We're going to play in or out. It's not in and out. That's a very different game. It's in or out. Is this segment an in-ring segment? This classic Defiance moment? Was it an in-ring moment or was it an out-of-the-ring moment? And our guest tonight is a lover of in-ring segments, and he will have to make that determination. Also on the program, I have to plug Defiance Radio. We are coming up on the 4-year anniversary of the teaser episode, which is just 1 week away from that anniversary. 4 years of stupid programming. I'm incredibly proud. Our guest this evening is none other than one of my favorite people. He's also one of your favorite people. He handles, of course, the Rain City Ronin, who are killing it. T.A. Black. He's got Kerry Kuriyama with that incredible show-closing moment. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you, in his final form, ladies and gentlemen, Ryan Strausma. This is exciting.
Oh, shucks. Hi, everybody. It's me.
Yes. Straus, yeah.
It's not Bronson. Copped his style, you know.
Hey, listen, rock it, brother. You're killing it. All right, so this is big. We got a huge show, Straws, and I'm excited to get to it. I want to dive into it. There's a lot to talk about. I want to talk about DEFCON and the show that we are building to. Talk about your characters. I guess we'll start with Kerry because we ended with Kerry on the last show.
Yeah, that was unintended, but if I knew that was going to end the show, I probably would have wrote a better promo or something. But it was kind of like, he comes in, he just says some stuff, and he responds to the DEFCON challenge. But Kerry Kuriyama, Oscar Burns, it's going down. Turning the favor. It's the VIII Victus Fallout storyline. You know, Seth and I are pretty excited about it. I think I'm just really excited about writing the kind of match that we're going to write. You know, in a way of I don't know. It's like two very pure wrestlers doing that kind of thing. And I think Seth is the best when it comes to that. So, excited about that. What do you think about it?
Dude, I'm all about it. Obviously, Kerry's journey has been a long one, and this feels like a kind of a leveling up. We're going to talk about leveling up in another way in a bit, but this certainly feels like leveling up for Kerry. And I feel like Kerry's got to come out of this with the win, unless you guys do something crazy. And that'll obviously that's the great. Again, you talked about Seth and how great he is, but that's the great thing about Seth is he creates these characters that can take a loss, and it's good for everybody.
Yeah,
like it works for
It builds in a way. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we could come up with something crazy, you know. I mean, we'll see.
Yeah, no, so tell me, obviously you kind of tied the Rain City Ronin and Kerry Kuriyama story together, kind of weave those together. They've obviously been weaved together for years, but obviously in this last show kind of put that together. Was that something that you had planned on doing?
I kind of think I originally planned when I was going to bring Kerry kind of back into Defiance. So I was just going to basically make him the third stringer to Rain City Ronin to a degree. You know, I was pretty focused on that, and I was like, I don't know if I could do a whole other third arc or something. Then Carrie came back, and people were like, "Hey, what's Carrie doing?" And I'm like, "He's doing absolutely nothing. Let's write something." Then every Tuesday night on Defiance, I'm like, "Why the hell did I agree to 3 arcs?" Um, yeah, so like the greater world building, obviously Carrie and Zach Damon. Well, Zach Damon, the son of Rocco Damon. Rocco Damon trained Carrie. Carrie's kind of like it's that generational kind of thing between them. All went to the same kind of like wrestling school together. So it's that kind of I don't know that core kind of group of mine that comes from the Seattle wrestling scene or whatever. And I thought he folded into that pretty well, or I had like ideas of just kind of like doing like a trio between the 3 of them anyhow, and felt like a good thing for that. And then they've just kind of immediately just started doing their own things. I mean, that's a bad thing, but yeah. Didn't they have oh god, they had a match on this show too. See, I don't even remember this show.
Yes, they had a match also. But again, like with this story too, and now that I'm really thinking about it as you're talking, you talk about the Seattle wrestling scene. You also wove in the Scott Douglas into this as well, which along the way, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, and it's great like working with Brian again on this and getting that Carrie like Scott kind of history going again. I mean, because that's kind of the story with Carrie. Carrie, I created. I was thinking about it today. I created Carrie. Really, everything spawns back to our friend Justin, creepy Justin. And when we had a little shit splat fed when we were 19, 20-year-olds and just writing like hardcore matches and stuff. And that's kind of where Eric Black or Resin kind of evolved, who eventually evolved into Resin. That's kind of where he came out of. But then when he started working with Brian on they kind of resurrected the IWF Fed on FW Central, and it was kind of short lived, but it was again kind of like a centralized, kind of like based out of the Seattle area. And I was kind of like, hey, I'm gonna come up with this clean slate character. I want something new. Like let's say the student of the guy who was my main character at the time, Rocco Damon. Let's get a student of him. He's this 20-year-old kid named what's a good K name? I don't know how long it took me to think of that name, but the last name was actually pretty easy because I wanted to translate the Black Mountain, and that works pretty well.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it was just finding another K name, I think, but then through that, he was kind of floating in the ether for a while FW Central was kind of slowing down back in, the late 2010s, I want to say. 2015, I think it was Brunk that reached out to me to join Defiance. Because I was like, I don't know, Anglefed, and he's just like, no, dude, I thought the same thing, and I got here, and it's like so much fun, you'd love it. So I got into it, but there was a lot of reading at the time. I couldn't invest into it, and I kind of flaked out. But Carrie was still there, and Brian had known the character, and it kind of like the same way that like Joe works with Levi Cole, or Greg works with like J.J. Dixon, taking this kind of pre-existing character that got introduced in and just kind of working with it and, making a story out of that and that kind of thing. So that was like the first 5 years of Carrie and Defiance. And, I didn't handle the character at all at that point, but then it's almost kind of like realizing here we are in 2025. It's like, yeah, he's been in Defiance for close to 10 years, like it almost kind of feels like bring that up and you could make a storyline out of it, so to speak. And yeah, I think it's a storyline that any kind of story of just like Carrie being like the hungry kind of competitor, I kind of really get behind. It's hard to do in an Anglefed because there's never really a guarantee that there's going to be a destination,
right?
But you could still work off of that of just like it's that chase, like month after month, and then you seem to get close, and then there's that tragic downfall at one point. You just build yourself up and all that kind of thing. It all just kind of adds to it, I mean, we saw Cody Rhodes with a rubber chicken by his head at the end of one WrestleMania, and then he was, being held up by all the other wrestling stars a year later, that kind of thing. So yeah, it's fun working with Carrie and that kind of like I don't know, straight wrestler kind of sense.
Right.
In a way, it is kind of very one dimensional, but I kind of like see it as like make the most out of that one dimension or something.
It's interesting you say one dimensional because I look at it as kind of layered in an interesting way because of his story and his relationships with so many characters. It adds all this nuance that you can call back to or pull in when you need to. It's kind of interesting. And you know that's what I love too is I'm obviously a big long term story guy, and I feel like whether it's intentional or not, the long story of of Carrie's journey in Defiance is kind of fascinating to unfold, and it does feel to me at least that it's we're going to a different place with it, which is kind of fun, very fun.
Yeah, it's a he's a fun guy. I come on.
So is Seth going to do all the writing on this one? Do you get to just sit back and?
Oh yeah, I'm going to just basically shove off as much as I can onto Seth.
Mhm.
You know, like
Mhm.
Seth, you could do this. You've got 5 arcs.
Yeah,
I've got 3. I'm so overwhelmed here, Seth.
three is a lot, dude. Three is a lot.
It is, you know.
And I imagine you weren't really thinking, you don't really think about the actual shit. I got to sit down and do this until, oh shit,
Until oh shit, I got to sit
I
down.
got to
And
sit
do
down.
this.
I was just thinking about that.
Sounded great in my head Friday
Yeah.
night, you know, and I'm sitting there like, oh, this is going to be the greatest speech ever. And then Tuesday, 8 p.m., you're like, oh, that's
So let me ask you, so just take this last show for example. Do you play out in your head? Because I'm kind of as I'm laying trying to go to sleep at night, I'll think about the next shit I need to write and what's a way to do it. How much is your brain thinking about? Okay, I need to think about Rain City Ronin have a match. I need to think about that. I need to think about T.A. Black's involvement in the Honor Society segment, which we'll talk about in a minute. I need. Oh yeah, Kerry Kuriyama's closing the show. Fuck. Like, how is your brain constantly, or is it like when you sit down? Now I got to figure out what the fuck I'm doing, or are you always thinking about, all right, how can I end this spot, or how am I leaving the reader? How does that work for you? The process.
I don't know. Usually it kind of depends on like who's online and in the document right then, you know, and I can hop in and work with them or something,
Mm.
or if they're active, or hey, I'm ready for you to hop in. Then I kind of like go in and I'm almost like doing it like on the spot. A lot of times I like think ahead or like, yeah, I know I want to get these points across, or even in like group chat, I'm like, oh yeah, thought of like, you know, TA Black comes out, he introduces all these people, and that's the shtick, you know, and kind of start from there. But there's a little bit of like thinking ahead. I really wish I had the capacity, or I don't have, I have the capacity. I wish I had the motivation.
Mm.
I'd say that's my number one flaw is like finding on the spot motivation as you're thinking about it, as you're inspired, and pretending you're going to remember it 3 days later when it comes time to write it. No, sit down and put it down as it is that way. A day later, you might come back to it and think that doesn't make any sense. That's barely an English sentence. I don't know what you just cobbled words together that you thought sounded cool. That's a John Moxley promo. Um, but,
Nobody likes a John Moxley promo.
well, all right.
Different conversation. Yeah, different meeting.
Yeah. Well, so, you know, it's that kind of like you have to write it in the kind of moment and then go back and kind of refine it or something. Like, I wish I had more motivation to do that. Though a lot of times I kind of get started on one idea, and then 3 days later I have a better idea, or there's something out that just kind of expands on that. And whatever it was that was an original idea suddenly gets diminished, you know. But it's that's part of it too, you know, working things out to realize this doesn't work because it needs to do this, but this other idea works a little better for that, you know.
Mhm. And then
So
other people have better ideas, and it's like, well, shit.
and then somebody else says something,
Yeah,
and,
yeah. Yeah.
and then you're kind of like, oh, that's perfect. We got to roll off that. Yeah.
Do you plan like? Do you have a goal? Obviously, with Carrie, there's a goal. Like, do you like? I for my characters currently, at least, I've got an idea of what the major story beats are going to be. I don't really necessarily know how I'm going to get there until oftentimes I'm sitting down or whatever. But do you plan far out, or is it kind of just by the seat of your pants or by the cards you're dealt or whatever?
I'd say, yeah, well, there's definitely like tentpole kind of things. Like, for example, getting Carrie with the Rain City Ronin.
Mm-hmm.
When I first created the Rain City Ronin, I knew like at some point they're going to be with Carrie. You know, I originally kind of thought of them as like almost being his kind of underlings, but it's almost got that kind of triad balance kind of thing to it
Mm-hmm.
now. But yeah, there's always kind of like moments where I'm like, oh, I want to build to this kind of thing. Like the whole TA Black, you know, I've had this. I think there's probably about like a whole other year's worth of where we want to build that up to, or something, or what the turn is going to be, or
Mm-hmm.
something like that. And again, yeah, things do happen, and things kind of come down to the spot. You kind of just evolve the story to whatever happens, or you know, you might come up with a better idea, or have to take a left turn at some point, and you just kind of roll into it. You know, so I'm not really a person that's ever really satisfied with any of my work to begin with. So I don't really think of it as like, oh, it's not going to go perfect anyhow, even if I do it exactly how I had it planned, you know.
Mm.
But yeah, I do think ahead, or sometimes I'm, you know, always getting ideas or future ideas, and then usually when I get to that point, it's more of a version of the original idea I had, as opposed to the same idea, you know.
That's interesting. So you mentioned
Like I
you go
definitely
ahead.
had the idea of sober resin for like a number of years going into it. I almost figured he was going to feud with Deacon at the time, because I had this evangelical preacher kind of thing where he was just, you know,
Wow.
the white suit and banging on a Bible and doing revivals in
Mm.
the middle of the ring, you know, and
Mm-hmm.
baptizing people, and you know, like a bridge over troubled waters, like just blaring over the PA, and he's just like, praise Jesus, you know, that kind of
Mm.
thing. Then
Wow.
Deacon
So
comes out.
that's been kind of kicking around your head for
Oh
that.
yeah,
Wow. Okay.
for
Cool.
that long. And
Yeah.
then like I think Joe and I finally had enough of our schedules cleared up, and I just said Ned reform, like converting resin, you know, would actually be this great angle, and
Mm-hmm.
just the subsequent kind of you know, segments and the storyline that's come out of that has been, I don't know, I love abusing my caps lock key.
Dude, I love it. I love the caps lock. I was actually thinking about that today. It's like every fifth word is emoted, and I love it. I picture he's projecting. That's all. He's just
Yeah.
trying to. It's his crescendo. So we'll talk about Ta Black, and I'm curious about your writing with Joe. Are you guys in the dock at the same time often? Is that like how you guys have worked, or yeah?
Yeah, yeah, usually pretty much like same night. You know,
Oh,
we're
that's
like
fun. Yeah.
kind of tag team, or one person goes in and one person comes in 30 minutes later, writes their kind of part. And,
That would intimidate the shit out of me. If I'm in a document with you, and I would feel very much like on the spot to fucking deliver, and that I don't know if I can.
oh,
I mean,
I can't
I have
imagine how
done
many
it.
people have like watched me write out like whole sentences and suddenly deletes it, and then comes out another sentence and deletes that, then goes on idle for 15 minutes. You know,
You're pacing back and forth.
yeah,
God damn it! Yeah,
it's
yeah.
like
Oh, okay, all
he
right.
writes the word 5 ways or something. You know, like he lied on the bed. No, he laid on the bed. He lay on the.
He
He
layeth.
was standing up by the window. You
He
know,
lane. Yes, yes.
yeah.
You just start over. Talk to me about the the journey with Ta Black, because obviously that was a turn I didn't see it coming, and it's obviously everybody's gotten a huge kick out of that. And how are you loving what you're doing right now?
I mean,
Or
yeah,
yeah.
it's again, it's like territory I wanted to explore with the character. There's always that idea of like, I don't know how long can I go beating the Resin's crazy stoner. He trips on the ramp every way down to the ring at every pay per view, and he's setting stuff on fire, and he's wrapping his head in tinfoil, and blah 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 blah. You know,
Mm,
and I even felt that way when I was doing kind of the resistance
mm,
arc. You know, leading up to the Ned reform thing, where it was like I could really put more into this, but I just don't feel it, because I just feel like it's the same fucking shenanigans or something like that. You know,
mm.
so it's almost kind of not so much the same shenanigans, but shenanigans, just through a different kind of filter, you know, like, excuse me.
No, but you're right
Again,
though. It's the same. It's the same. It's the same guy, but
Yes.
right, it's like through a different lens. That is very, very true. And
But
that's
just
what
because he's
yeah,
sober doesn't mean he's any less stupid, you know?
or more sane and
Yeah.
grounded. Yeah, the Department of Pedagogical Efficiency. I
Or,
I literally lost my shit. Uh, I literally lost my shit. That was awesome. So just my hats off to you.
yeah, I think, well, I mean, that obviously came from, the real life
Yeah.
parallel, but then I thought
Oh
of,
my
like, oh,
god.
let's do the,
Yeah.
right, give it an
Amazing.
anagram, call it, oh, forget the anagram, but just,
I think one of the best parts of for me as a reader watching this angle unfold is that it's you and Joe doing this, because Joe's Ned reform is like for me anyway, like note perfect. He embodies that when he writes it. It's amazing, and I feel like you're able to do the same with Resin. So it's two writers writing the characters that they somehow like breathe ridiculous life into, playing off each other. It's almost too much. I thought about it when I was putting together the Def Radio with them playing poker, whatever it was, and it's like
oh,
these are two of the best characters, like, and it's just nuts, and the best, and two of the best writers in my opinion, just putting out crazy shit, working together. So I'm excited. I don't want this to end at DEFCON. I want them to somehow obviously sustain through this moment, but only if Brock
you blood.
New Blood, and Pat Cassidy keeps his Irish nose out of this one. So I'm intrigued by that. Obviously, I mentioned Rain City Ronin. You talked about them a little earlier.
Yeah.
They also feel like obviously getting a real shine in this arc. I feel like the last one, and again, interesting. It's hard to write characters. Well, I thought it was hard to write a character who didn't speak, because obviously Corvo didn't talk for a long time, and you found a way to have two characters that don't speak. You found a way to pull that off. Is that hard to write? Is it fun? Like, how do you? Yeah.
It comes with its challenges. I find, like, when I was like, they would, have like a line, but it was just like the expression on their face or something like that. That was kind of a good, way of them communicating without communicating it. Like, but is that I feel that was like always kind of the point, is that you can get the message across without having words being spoken. Um, Again, let me just go ahead and jerk off Seth here, but like when one of the first arcs I always liked when I came into Defiance was always the Oscar Burns versus Lindsay Troy, and it had very few words in the entire lead up. There were still like appearances, but it was all just kind of actions and interactions or something. They did have like one face to face promo,
Mm.
but a lot of it to me was just like, this is the most straight wrestling fucking feud, and that's what I loved about it. Um, and that's kind of like where I think the idea for like the Rain City Ronin came from. It's like, we're not going to speak; we're just going to go out there and make our intentions known. When we want a match, we're going to walk up to you and show you our, hey, we're here to fuck around faces. You'll get the idea. Uh, it's in writing, yeah. I mean, sometimes because it just kind of sounds like what you could really rip on them. Just be like, what? Use your words. Like, come on, like,
Right. 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 Give me
just
something.
gonna
Give me something to work with. Give me something to work with.
yeah.
No,
But
but again, I think it can be challenging, and I'll be obviously, if anybody can do it, it's you. Like, how long you're able to do that without them just being like, for fuck's sake, this is what I have to say. Yeah.
I like to think that their message is like, focus on our wrestling,
Mm.
not our promos or our characters or our bombastic personalities. Like, we're wrestlers first, and our personalities come after that, or something. Which, again, is very contrast to like Mantra, like
Mm.
Declan Alexander, Nathan I, and Michaela Namaste are just like completely out there all the time. Just they're the perfect, just like promo kind of group.
What is the mantra Ray dance?
I,
I'm
I
trying.
couldn't tell you what
I think it's a swimming
that is.
thing. I don't
Is it
know. Yeah, it might be like a breaststroke. I don't know. Is it a? I don't really know. I want to
like the
know.
brother place kind of.
Right, could be. Yeah, no, but like you've got your three characters, your four characters are humming at the moment, so that's got to feel good. Still active in Prime.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
so and like the interesting thing that I think that you do, and there's a handful of other writers that do it. You try to keep like same universe, kind of, right? Like that's how kind of how you approach it, where as best you can. Sometimes I
Yeah.
know it's hard.
It's not always kind of. I don't make it completely obvious.
Mm,
Like, I don't know if T.A. Arsfiner and T.A. Amarettos are going to be the exact same as they would be if they appeared in Prime. They might just be their regular characters there because the audience there doesn't, follow the story here no more than the audience in Defiance follows
mm.
the story there. So, like, nobody's going to understand if Carrie came out with a koala bear, like, following him around. Everyone's going to be like, "What's with the koala, Carrie? This is very unlike you for being a straight wrestler." And he's like, "Oh, that's my pet, Carrie Koala Yama."
Which is wonderful. I think
Yeah.
when I heard about that, I was like, I support this 100%. I know my
That's
vote
a
matters
little
not.
greenish there. Yeah.
Oh my god. Oh my god. But that is kind of I think it's an interesting way to go about it. And I think I've done similar shit like years ago, decades ago, however long ago it was. So that's kind of neat. Before we get to the in or out game, which by the way I've had zero preparation for. Zero. Okay?
You've had zero preparation.
Other than this graphic, this right here. This is the only preparation I've had. Okay, so we're gonna find out in a little bit, in or out. But before we do that, tell me about your music. Are you still playing, or your band is still doing their thing? You haven't mentioned it.
Yes. The Mound Builders are still doing. What the hell are we doing?
What are you
We're
doing? Yeah.
still we're still playing. Still, I guess, recording or releasing material. I don't know. I've kind of drifted out of like knowing what the entire front end of that band is. I show up to band practice and write some songs or play some songs. Yes.
How involved are you in the writing, in the writing and the music?
Uh, Pretty much.
Nice,
Yeah.
nice.
I mean, it's me and a guitar player, so and one vocalist, but usually the three instruments kind of lock it down and then wait 5 years for the vocalist to get some lyrics down.
Get his
And,
shit together. Right.
Yeah.
Have you ever felt the urge to just be like, I'll sing this one?
Well, yeah. I mean, I've had some other projects where, like,
Oh,
with another guitar player, like a different kind of lineup or something, where it was just more of like power trio, and we don't have a vocals, and I either did kind of shared vocals or some kind of aspect of that.
that's cool.
It sometimes it is easier when it's just like three guys in a basement that are just like, hey, screw it, flip a chord.
Let's make some noise
Make
and
some
have
music.
fun. Yeah.
As opposed to like one guy who's like, oh, we got to print these T-shirts, we got to play these shows, but not more than 2 months apart, because then you'll thin out your crowd. And I'm like, what, crowd of 12 people? Come on, man, we're dad asses. Like,
Right.
I don't know. It's one of those weird things. This band, I've been in the band is called the Mound Builders, by the way.
Thank you.
Look them up, folks. We've had a few singles released recently. We're for fans of, I guess, like I would say for fans of like NOLA sludge, some Defiance roots right there. Like your I can't think of any Crowbar, I Hate God, or the Acid Bath, or who've gotten back together and are playing more shows. Nobody knows. I don't know what I'm talking about, but yes. So
It sounds like a Resin thing where Resin's just naming genres of music. This
right?
is
Yeah.
Pisscore, Blood Pisscore. Yeah.
Uh,
Oh man. All right, so that's sorry. So you're active. Your lead singer continues to be a pain in the ass, and people should look for your music. I've certainly downloaded it. Check it out. It's not necessarily always my speed, but I dig it. Okay.
Yeah.
You get some plays from me on Apple Music, which pays the best. Okay.
It's loud, angry, yelly, screamy.
Yes.
When you're angry music.
I fucking
would say.
sometimes listen. I'm trying to get better with that. I'm working on my anger. All right. So do you want to play in or out? You want to try this?
Yeah.
All right. So we are going to play the only game worth playing. It is in or out. Which one is it? And you have to bear with me because, as I mentioned, I've literally done zero. When I say zero, less than zero preparation on this. So, but I have a plan. The good news is I've got a fucking plan. So bear with me one moment. Obviously, Straws, I've chosen this because you love a good in-ring promo.
Right, yeah. I love when a show just gets interrupted by somebody that just comes out and has to have something to say.
Well, you know what I was thinking as I was putting this, as I did think about this. I want to be very clear. I put some thought into this, and one of the things that kind of occurred to me is, what is the origin of the in-ring? Like, now I'm not talking about so much in our hobby, but back in the day, the wrestler would come out, they'd be interviewed, right? Like, who was the first? Were they coming out just doing a promo without? Was it NWO? Who was it?
My first kind of I'm trying to think. Like, they used to do in rings, but it'd be like before a match or after a match. Gene would be out there.
Yeah, yeah.
He'd be out there with the microphone, or if they did like kind of something that was like out in the crowd, there'd be that stage. You'd have Piper's Pit, or you'd have the Snake Pit, or the Hogan Pit, or anything like that.
Yeah, the Peach Pit.
That's a good question. When did people start just like coming out with a microphone and standing in the ring and just was it
Austin? I was thinking NWO because the NWO predates Austin as far as.
I've seen Hart walk to the ring and do the best there is, best there ever was.
Yeah, but was it? Yeah, it was probably WWF. It was. I mean, it had to be there.
Maybe he had it. I like in rings when there's an interviewer with them.
I think an in ring without
why would you just do it backstage?
But yeah. An in ring.
That's me and my logic thinking that I used to piss several people off with for a number of years because I don't know. I'm at a point now where I'm just kind of like, we're in this stupid game just for fun. Like,
all right, someone's replying. So, Joe says in the chat that Steve Austin made a regular thing. He was too badass to be interviewed, and then everyone else copied. See, but I feel like didn't the NWO predate him? Brian says NWO had Bischoff as the interviewer. That's a good fucking point. Okay. Right. But what about like Nash used to come out by himself and be like, that's how he started all his promos. Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. Yeah. Okay. I don't know. And maybe it was Austin. All right. Joe says Austin. We're going with Joe. Joe, you're fired. You're fired, Joe. Interesting. All right. So then we've debunked that, and now I got to actually come up with questions. First of all, the first question: you cannot cheat, and this really should be a bonus question, but can you name the account name of the person one of the two people who recently joined or came to the welcome channel and then left? So they were in and then they were out. Can you name one of the two?
George VI.
I think it was George the Seventh. Please stand by. It might have been the seventh. It was the fifth. It was the fifth.
Okay.
I think you said the fifth. Yeah, you said fifth, I think.
I said six.
Oh, did you? Oh, all right. Well then. Okay. Well then you said. All right. Yeah. I said. I don't know what you said. It doesn't matter. Can you name the other one? Can you name the other most recent one? Again, he was in and then he was out. And what sucks about this one is this might have been like a handler because his profile, he had a picture of like a Japanese wrestler, like an art of a Japanese wrestler, which man, we had a live one.
I want to say it started with a J. J Wall.
It was J779.
Okay.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. So, let's see here. So, in 2023, Ned Reform famously challenged Elon Musk to a match at, I believe, fucking DEFCON. I'm pretty sure that was DEFCON. Was that in the ring? Was it on the interview stage? Or was it... And man, what a fucking promo, by the way. I'm scrolling through it. It's the most ridiculous thing ever. So, what do you think?
I think interview stage.
All right, so hold on. Let's see. I'm scrolling through it because, as I said, I didn't do any fucking gestures for the mic. I'm pretty sure it's in the ring. Joe, was that in the ring? Joe, was that an in ring? I'm pretty sure it was. I'm just gonna ask Joe because Joe's in the chat. So, shit, that's gotta be. Hang on, stand by. Yes, that is an in ring. Congratulations. It's an in ring because Roland made it a main event. Oh, he's blaming Roland. He's like, shit. I don't want Straws mad at me for fucking having an in ring. I can explain.
Look, in ring main events are fine.
Okay. All right.
Okay, I'm trying to think of my hard rules for in rings.
All right.
Okay?
Thank you. This is what we need.
This
is what the people want.
That's fine.
Go ahead. Yep. Okay. Open and close.
Before a match or after a match, it has something related to do with some, that's fine.
Okay.
Any top star or champion, I feel. And top star, I'm talking like, top, probably like one of four people.
Mm-hmm.
They could come out and they could command a ring, or, people that could realistically come out and command a ring.
Mm-hmm.
To me, the in-ring rules started getting broken when I started noticing like Arthur Pleasant would come out and have like the biggest heel reactions, and I'm kind of like, okay, this is why I don't like in-rings, because you control the crowd reaction. Not only that, but why are random people just being given, yeah, sure, go on out in the middle of the ring. It's a stage now. Who cares? Yeah. That's part of why the Rain City Road like don't say anything. The ring is for fighting, not speeching.
I dig it.
Okay, what's the next in and out here?
All right. You're like, Paul, god damn it, move it along. All right, so Dex Joy famously in 2023 cut a promo where, as the New Fist, it was a new era of Defiance. He had just defeated Lindsay Troy. And now it's the era of everyone. Where was that an in-ring? Or was it not in-ring?
I think I recall that being in-ring.
Interesting. I'm pretty sure he actually goes into the crowd. No, I don't think that. I don't think that counts as an in-ring, Straws. He's actually in the crowd. He actually makes a point of walking up the ring steps, stopping, and then going around the ring, high-fiving people, and he got in the crowd because he's one of the people, Pally. He's one of the people. And by the way, let's talk about Dex Joy and how amazing. I think I've talked about this before. How amazing it's going to be when Punch Drunk Purcell knocks him the fuck out, and Punch Drunk immediately becomes fucking huge, bigger than he is. And Dex is like right back there in a singles feud. I love the way Marcus has taken Dex Joy, who was such a dominant babyface champion, and positioned him in a completely different way, still up there, but not center stage, in a way where it takes nothing to get him back over to here. And I'm when that happens, my God, when Punchy's a greedy son of a bitch. We've seen that, okay? He can be motivated by money. When that happens, it's going to be wonderful.
He's basically
Joe says I should give that last one to you because it was ring adjacent. Sorry, Joe. No, I will not be giving it to you. Thanks for watching. All right, so let me try something else here. Bear with me. This is going great so far. This is going so much better than I thought it would. Let's see. I got one more. Let's do this one.
Only one.
Let's go with. Bear with me. You guys are great. All right. See, that was a match. Okay, this isn't working yet. All right, everything's fine. Stay with me. I swear this is worth it. All right. Oh, good. He's having a taco, guys. This is serious. If you're just joining in, thanks for watching. Straws is having a taco. It's that kind of night. Strasma.
No.
Corvo Alpha made his debut on the main roster in Defiance by attacking Henry Keys in what I would call, humbly, I think it was the moment of the year. Was that in the ring? Was it not in the ring?
I don't remember this. God damn it. I'm trying
Well,
to think
thanks.
back.
Just fake it. Of all the things you could have said, you could have just been wrong. No, I'm just kidding.
This was in the ring.
I'm so sorry. That was a bulldog out of the skybox, if I recall, into a bunch of equipment, which took Henry Keys out for
Anywhere
several months.
in the stadium is in the. Wow, okay. It's not in the ring.
It's not in the ring. It's not in the ring. All right,
None of these in the ring.
I don't know. I'm literally just we're flying by the seat of our pants here. This is great. We're gonna
Man, I
talk
fail every one of these games.
a little bit. Oh, they're not gonna actually. All right, bear with me. I think I get it at the end. Aha. All right. Butcher Victorious famously won segment of the year at this last year-end award when he left VIII. Was that an in-ring moment when he said he quit? Or was it out of the ring?
That had to have been in ring.
It was in the ring. It was in the ring. Yes. Yes. Congratulations. Yes, that was in the ring.
I think he pretty much, he told off Oscar Burns, didn't he?
He did. He told off Oscar Burns. I think they had just let in.
Butch Vic says he quits.
Book Vitch says, I quit. Oh my God. It's so fucking good. Yes. So congratulations. I think because of my poor planning, this concludes In or Out, folks. This is it. That's it. That's all I got. All right. Straws, I think you froze on me.
I froze. Can you hear me?
I can hear you just fine, buddy. It's always your best side that we get.
I know, right?
When that
I'm
happens.
just throwing my voice, everybody.
Yeah. I want to talk about DEFCON if we can. So let's talk about the big show. The thing I'm most excited about, and it really occurred to me today, is I'm super excited about the tag title or the every title scene. All the titles have an interesting, different vibe to the feuds surrounding them. Favorite Saints looks like it's going to be a big multi-man. You got a lot of people gunning for that, a lot of suitors, which I think is interesting for the Favorite Saints Championship. I don't know if we've had that really, where there's multiple people gunning for it, which I think is a unique take on that.
We haven't had that in a while. I mean, like originally when it came out, and it involved early resin was involved in but yeah, a lot of that came out of multi-man matches. I remember what was the original Favorite Saints kind of. I mean, there was the 4 matches.
Okay, to get contender,
shot at Southern, or is it 3 match? I can't remember what the stip is, but I remember originally there was it's almost like a Survivor. I can't remember if it was. I got to go back and see what the original stip was in that original match, because it was almost kind of like a timed kind of match, or maybe it was like a gauntlet that it starts with 2 people and other people come into the match.
Joe says it was the Favored 4-Way.
Favored 4-Way, okay, yeah. I think it starts with 2 people, then after 10 minutes, a third person comes in. After the next 10 minutes, another person comes in. So, because I think we had matches that built up to that, where that would depend on people's placement within that kind of match or something like that. So,
yeah, like qualifiers kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yep.
But I like the idea of the Favorite Saints title almost being kind of like a multi-man match kind of title. It gets a lot of people involved, and it kind of it really blurs up the kind of you look at kind of real wrestling counterparts when you think of Money in the Bank or Elimination Chamber or anything that's going to involve a number of people, and you're going to say, okay, anyone could probably win this under the right circumstances. Mm-hmm. Usually if it's just a one-on-one, you're kind of okay, we know that this person's getting pushed, or we know that there's usually a bit of predictability that kind of goes in with like standard one-on-ones. I think with like multi-matches though, and especially I think that works well for like the favorite Saints.
And also, I feel like we went through a run, and I think I was guilty of this also, but I think we went through a run where immediately that favored Saints holder was, you could assume that their next arc they were going to be playing around with the Soher guy. Like, or we went through a run where it was like very clear that this person was going to get the 4 wins, get to that match. Whether they won it might have been a different story. But this feels like a different era with the favored Saints where they're kind of...
It's going to be a hot potato around, yeah.
Yeah. So I kind of dig it. And there's a lot of people gunning for Mills' prize, which is fun. Tag division, always killing it, obviously. I've enjoying what the Sevens are doing with the Atomic Punks. I'm enjoying the Rain City Ronin getting their chance. Mantra, obviously. Stranglehold. With Tom Morrow back in the fold, that adds like a whole other wrinkle. So I'm excited about the tag scene, and hopefully more to come. Because especially like with the Hollywood Bruvs taking a step back, it hasn't missed a beat. I would say the division, so that's kind of fun. Obviously, the Soher is just a bore and a snooze fest right now. Other than the new champion Brock Newblood, of course. But I thought the title change on TV is a rare, awesome moment. I thought that was a lot of fun.
I know Joe and Gorman were I was kind of privy to those conversations, and they set that up very well. And it was a good, just kind of like it feels like one of those great TV moments,
Right, and they wrote it in a way where, like to your point, it kind of felt like one of those feel good situations. Then you got the Fist, and you got Connor seriously leveling up, in my opinion. He had the win over Gage Blackwood a couple shows ago. The win over his brother this last show. With Mark Shields getting involved, which is interesting. Malik's run has been kind of fascinating for me because I didn't know how long that character could sustain it, but how silly of me because that's happening. I'm enjoying the Fuse, the new Fuse brothers, the new Fuse brothers.
Ross has been absolutely great with Malik, and I don't know. I've seen that whole thing prosper over years. Like when I came into Defiance, and Malik at the time held the unified tag team titles. I don't remember who it was. It's someone in the comment section, obviously, but because I obviously remember the segment where he's walking to the ring and he's got all 5 belts on him, like shoulders, neck, and around the waist, and he's just the way it was described, and just everything he does to take the shortcuts, and you didn't know it until it actually happened. You realize, man, he set this up perfectly,
right?
And Roland, I think, has also worked really well, and just complementing that with Connor and with Tyler, both the Fuse brothers. We get Fuse on Fuse,
Yeah. Again, I think it's another one of those things where Connor's been such a consistent character and has been written in a way where this also is another one of those things where it feels like the fans he's kind of like, this is his moment. So it'll be, if that is the match, it looks like it's the match.
Conflict of interest aside, I think Roland's done a great job of just positioning Connor as just like the heart and soul of Defiance in a way, like almost Brian did with Scott Douglas for so many years.
That's a great point.
Connor has just become almost that icon,
That's a great point. Yeah. I could definitely see that. So I'm super stoked for DEFCON. Is there what's the match you're most looking forward to reading eventually?
The match I'm most looking forward to browsing over and then saying I read, and then saying this is a great match.
Thank you. Because I'm
going to say I'm eager to see Box engage.
That's a great point.
Scottish, the big Scottish Rumble.
And has this been officially signed? I'm looking in the DEFCON. Okay, Defiance Road is still there. I clicked on Defiance Road. Bronson Box versus Gage Blackwood, standard match, which is interesting because I feel like the last match was like no ropes, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That might be my only critique, that maybe they should have gone with a standard match and then go to the no ropes. But I don't know. Maybe it's a silly critique. You've got also announced Southern Heritage Championship triple threat, Brock with Pat versus T.A. Black and Ned Reform. That one's in top of my list. Burns and Kerry Kuriyama is announced. There's an 8-person tag team match with the Lads. Let's talk about the Lads. I think I touched on Dextroy and Punch Drunk Purcell. But again, Seth loves putting his characters in a stable. It's like he can't handle them unattached. And he's got some separation issues, perhaps, which maybe could be handled and delved into and unpacked on a future episode. But yes, he's got
Butch back here.
He's got Butch Vic paired up with the Lads. Jana Ray, which is Marcus's new female character, the Lads and the Lass versus Titanus Familia. Again, another stable that is seriously elevated. Again, now that I'm really looking at this, you think about all the characters who could conceivably take that step up to the Fist tier, right? To me, Uriel Cortez is in there. Dex Joy could go back in. Carrie's ready right there to be there. It's interesting because you've got, and then
mentioned Uriel, and like I never thought of it until now. Then the minute you said it, I was like, oh yeah, right. Like Seth is like really just consistently made that dude just like a force every arc he's in, and
almost quietly, like because there's so, and that's the hard thing about Defiance. And I've probably said this before, and I apologize to our 2 viewers, but there's so much good writing that sometimes it's like you don't get a chance to really appreciate all the shit that everybody's doing, because every show everybody fucking brings it. You mentioned Box and Gage, Unified Tag Titles, Mantra, and Rain City Ronin. Those are the only announced matches. I think we can assume it says, this is just in the DEFCON matches channel. Obviously, it sounds like Malik and Connor, but we'll see what it actually is when we get there. I have questions. Also unannounced, Corvo and MP1. Who else? Like, what else is out there that we haven't officially locked in? Is there other stuff?
What are we forgetting?
I don't know. Maybe nobody. Scott Douglas.
What is Scott Douglas doing? Brian, where are you?
Brian, yeah, what's Scott up to? Now I feel stupid.
I mean, again, like you were saying, like people who are up there, and like Brian wrote a banger of a Scott Douglas promo, not this show, but like last show, that I just thought was like, damn, man, like, yeah. There's, again, speaking of a character that never made it and has always been chasing and has always kind of been going after that. You know, I could say what I want about Carrie, but like Brian has invested so much in Scott Douglas and that character, the character that put his whole career on the line. And then, got beat by Mikey Unlikely and went away. Then came back, several years later. Great story around there. But who's he fighting?
He says it hasn't come out yet.
Is it Mikey Unlikely?
He's son of a bitch. That son of a bitch. So DEFCON is shaping up nicely, which is always good. The biggest show of the year. I'm really just looking forward to Seth's Talking DEFCON song parody that he's done the last 2 or 3 years going into DEFCON, where he like writes a song parody about every match on the card to the same song. I think it's the last 2 years he's done it, I want to say, and it's my favorite thing ever. I don't listen to it when I'm producing Def Radio. Full disclosure, other than some very, very rare exceptions, I don't listen to any of it until, as I'm putting it together, I get to the segment. All right, let's see what Strauss sent me. Okay, and that's me recording it. Usually is the first time I'm actually hearing it, and it's why so many times, especially with your shit, I'm giggling through it, because I'm like, holy fucking, and I keep it in there because it's fucking funny. I admit, last year, the minute I got Talking DEFCON from Seth, I opened it and listened to it, and I have no shame in admitting that. So no pressure, Seth. You have until April 12th to come up with another banger, because that's my favorite. So yes, I'll talk about Def Radio quick. Shameless plug. We've got April 12th. It is the DEFCON hype train. We are approaching fast the 4-year anniversary of the very first episode of Def Radio in this incarnation. Which is crazy to think about. There's over 20 episodes, of which Straw's eternal gratitude to you. I'm pretty sure you've been involved in all of them. Do you have a favorite? What was like the favorite contribution, if you can remember? Because it's been a many. Can you think of your favorite contribution to the show that you did, whether it was a promo or I don't know. I know what my favorite is. I know exactly what it is. I don't remember which show it is, but I'll tell you. I can easily tell you what it is. Do you have a favorite moment?
I'm fond of that very first Black Christmas, or the first karaoke I did.
It's classic.
I can't think. I did too many karaoke spots.
You did Wild Horses at one point.
I did all of Wild Horses.
All of it. All of it. It was fucking
30
incredible.
minutes of that song. Jesus.
Oh my God. My favorite. Well, screw your answer. I'm going to give you my answer. My favorite contribution of yours to date, and I look forward to you just blowing this out of the water. My favorite contribution of yours to date is you sent a promo, and I don't remember what was going on specifically with Resin, because the man's had his ups and downs. Maybe you've heard, but he was going through some shit, and you took the Twin Peaks soundtrack, that song.
Oh yeah.
And I don't know how you did it, and I want to know how you did it. So if you don't know the song or you don't know the segment, it's this long soliloquy, this long monologue that Resin goes through and he told me in his script that Straws sent me, he's like, start playing the song here. So I literally drop it in the moment he tells me, and I just listen to him talk. And I literally remember sitting in this chair, and I kind of like pushed myself back from my desk, and I remember like listening to it, and the music changes throughout the song. And as the music changes, Resin's tone changes, and he gets to the part where it builds up.
Big climax.
I want to live like a man on the whatever the hell it was. Oh my God, Straws, that is to me. I literally sat in this chair like, I'm so glad that I gave this man. I provided an outlet. I provided an outlet for this man to do this, and because holy shit. That is by far my favorite Resin moment.
That was I remember that. That came from just like people were putting like that Twin Peaks soundtrack over the Laura Palmer theme.
Yep.
Over just random wrestling promos or something.
Oh.
So you'd see that all the time, and then like you're kind of like, this music fits everything perfectly, because you get to that big, it just builds up to that big peak. And then there's usually some big emotional moment or something. So I think I kind of wrote it to that. And then that's how I kind of knew, okay, here's the musical cue. Like I know that when he gets there, he's going to get. I like that too, because he's always got the Resin boys, kind of thing, and then it just cuts to my normal voice.
When it goes back, it's like, oh my God, how am I going to feel? Afraid. Or something like that. I'm like, oh my God. And dude, I have no idea what episode it was. I would love to just find it. Because God,
do a Def Radio marathon one of these days.
Man, I'll be honest with you. I do it. I do it quite often.
I'll also say I'm very fond of a few of those Reapers segments I did, because I did all 4 voices and mixed them together and shit.
Yes. No, hold on. I want to go back to the other one, Straws. I want to go back to the other one, and I want to know, was that one take? Yeah. Wow, man.
Back then, I did everything in one take. Now I'm a little more smarter, and I'm like space bar, cut and crossfade if I need to.
Classic.
But yeah, back then it was, I was working third shift, and
But dude, that
some weird mindsets I'm thinking back to now, though. To go back to those tapes.
But man, like that is literally. I don't know if any of our 2 viewers, we lost a viewer. Well, fuck you anyway. I don't know if our 2 viewers remember that segment, but it's man. Now I want to find it, and I feel like there's no way I'm gonna find it. But I need to know. Anyway, I could do this all day. This next episode of Def Radio is going to be the DEFCON hype train. We're hyping DEFCON. I'm just throwing it out there to people. I want to do something we did. Screw you, Joe. You're fired. That's right. Brian says you're fired. Joe left, so screw Joe. Sorry, we bored you, Joe. I was going to tell everybody how much I appreciated your contributions to Def Radio next, but now I won't. This next episode, I want to do a roundtable thing where we have some experts weighing in on each match. It's something I did in the last episode, if you were able to check that out. I thought that was kind of fun. It was a good way to highlight every character. One of the hardest things putting this show together, I've found, is being able to touch every storyline. It's hard when people aren't, like, if I don't have a contributor or something. So I like the roundtable. If anybody has a character they want to participate in that, whether it's Chris Chicken Tenders or Super Def Fan, I'm hoping to get Tim Tillinghast in there. At least I was. Sleepy Joe. Oh, thanks, man. Guys, who else gets beers delivered? You know what I'm saying? Characters? Anyway, so I want to do a roundtable gimmick again. And then we're also going to feature the trial of Scotty Flash. The long culmination of our long national nightmare comes to an end, and justice will be served on April 12th. On a Saturday night. One of those rare Saturday night court appearances that are so common.
It's going to be... I'm going to drop so many confusing Phoenix Wright references. It's going to be confusing.
I'm excited. But yes, any contributions always welcome. Straws, I always try to wrap this within an hour, these episodes. We're cresting an hour now.
We're
in the run over. We're in the run over right now, but it's all right. I'm told we have as much time as we need. But I'm appreciative always of you willing to do this stuff. And come on, you are always welcome. Whenever we do this, you are an honorary co-host as far as I'm concerned at this point.
Oh, no.
Yeah, pressure. Yeah, welcome. welcome to broadcasting. All right, we got a saying around here. Get used to it, sister. Straws, anything you'd like to leave anything you'd like to say to Brian before we leave the air?
Is there anything I'd like to say to Brian?
Our one viewer. Anything you'd like to say? Don't hold back.
One thing I could say to Brian, and that's keep on defying.
Wow. Oh, wow. That was inspirational, Strasma. As always. Brother, I appreciate you. Thanks for doing this. And remain defiant, as you said. Yes. Be well. Until next time. Let's see if I can do this. Stand by. Oh, no, don't.
Have a good night, everybody.
No, don't say goodbye yet. Okay.
Hey, now, hi, everybody. I'm just waving.
Yeah. Now say goodbye. All right.
Goodbye.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
We're still here.
Okay.
I think.
All right. Is that playing? Yeah,
I hear it playing, yes.
Okay. That's my
Probably
jam.
still hear us, okay?
It's my jam. All right. Screw everybody. We're out of here.